Stitcher. It is Sunday, June 23rd, and this is Flosstube 37. This is a channel where I talk all about my love of cross stitch, what I'm working on, any starts, any whips, any finishes, all of that good stuff, and also books, which always comes toward the end of the video. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, I'm so excited to be with you again today. It's been about 3 weeks since my last video, so I have a lot to share, so we're just gonna kind of dive in. We're gonna talk about the 2 new starts I have, the 4 whips that I worked on. I've got some plans, including Christmas and July. I'm gonna recommend a couple floss tubes that I've been enjoying, and then we're gonna talk about books at the end of the video, and that will include our June and July Stitches and Pages book club. So let's dive in with the new starts. So the first new start is a stitch along, and I know some of you have been joining in. I hope more of you will hop in and participate. This started on the first day of summer, but it's ongoing throughout the summer, so feel free to hop in at any time, and it's the Stitch A Garden SAL. So I decided to do this stitch along because I wanted to stitch Fairy Garden by Blackbird Designs. This is part of their Garden Club series. I don't know if I will stitch the whole series, but I just loved this little pattern. I really enjoy doing Blackbird and have not stitched many of their patterns, and I thought this would be a fun small one to work on. And I think summer for me, I think gardens and flowers and vegetables and things blooming and green, and so I thought a garden stitch along would be fun for the summer months, especially because I don't do much nautical theme stitching or beachside stuff. I love to go to the beach, I love being by the ocean, but I live in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia, and we're not too close to the beach. My parents live in Delaware, so they're not far from the beach down there, but we don't live too close to the beach where we are, where my husband and I are. So I think more bees and gardens and that kind of summer themed fun. So please join in and stitch a pattern, any pattern that has a garden. You can either join in with Fairy Garden or work on a whip that you have that has a garden, or start something new. So Fairy Garden by Blackbird Designs is my choice. And I'm using all of the called for gentle arts, which are very beautiful colors, very soft summery colors, not bright summery, but soft summery, which I really like. And then I am stitching Fairy Garden, one strand of thread, or one thread over 2, and I am stitching this on a 36 count fiber on a Whim Affogato, and that is my small but cute start. It's a really small pattern, so I don't have too much of the border along here to do. And I kind of like jump around. I always start in the left-hand corner, but then I just jump around while I'm stitching. I don't know why I do that. I don't know what you all do, if you just kind of go where you start, or, you know, do you jump around, or do you just kind of stitch things in order? But I kind of just like to get different threads in there, different colors. Right now we're just a lot of pinks and reds, but this is gonna be really pretty. It's got some specialty stitches in these flowers here. And it's just so small and cute, and I'm really loving stitching on this one. I think this will be a pretty quick stitch, and I'm just really gonna enjoy the process with this one. It's so cute, and Blackbird Designs are just so well charted. I love the detailing of that flower in the top corner there, and the way they incorporate the specialty stitches. So this one is just a lot of fun. And I have all of the called for here, except I think when I ordered them, they were out of stock with the white, which I think is eggshell. No, lamb's wool, Gentle Arts lamb's wool. So I'm just gonna probably use a DMC 3865 maybe to stitch the house. Not a lot of stitches. And then I am missing the green / brownish kind of color for this stem here. I think maybe they were also out of stock, or I just misplaced it somewhere, but I will either find that or another color that's similar. That would be pretty easy. So that is Fairy Garden. I will say I love how the variegated look, and I like the soft kind of muted colors that they have here, but this pattern is so small, and it does have a fair amount of colors that you could certainly do it in DMC easily, because the variegation really doesn't matter all that much in something this small. And you know, there's so few stitches if you don't want to spend the money on colors that you definitely won't even use, you know, half the skein. DMC is a perfectly good choice. So let me know if you are stitching Fairy Garden. Let me know if you're going to stitch something else. And please join in with the stitch along. Use the hashtag Stitch A Garden SAL on Instagram, and please tag me, and I will try to share your posts or comment. Love to see what you are all stitching on, so I hope you'll join in. So that was my first new start. And then my next new start is related to the Stitches and Pages book club. That is a book club I do where we vote every 2 months on a book to read it over the course of the 2 months, and then stitch something related to the theme of the book, the color of the book, characters in the book, however you want to kind of stitch something related or pull out a whip that you think works. So the book that we chose for June and July is Emily Henry's Funny Story. This is a contemporary romance novel. Emily Henry is a pretty popular, newer romance novel writer. I'm really enjoying the book so far, and so I was trying to think of what could work with this book. It's maybe a little bit of a tougher one, but you know, you could do something purple, you could do something there's lemons on the cover, or do something related to a romance novel. And so what I decided to do is, I've always wanted to stitch something from Modern Folk Embroidery, and I haven't yet. And I wanted to start with something smaller by them because some of their patterns are beautiful but pretty large to tackle, and I wanted to do something smaller, so I chose Nordic Heart. So I chose something that's a heart with red, which matches with a theme of romance. And so I am stitching Nordic Heart on a 40 natural raw linen 1/2 using DMC 498. So that was just my choice. I just went to Joann's and looked at all the red DMC and decided that was the one I thought would work best on this fabric. And that's my start. And once again, jumping around, I started with that border, and then I wanted to move down and do one of those little motifs. But this is gonna be so fun to stitch. I really like 40 count natural raw linen. I find it just easy and smooth to stitch on. All colors kind of show up on this, whether they're dark or light, like a white. Obviously this will be all monochromatic, and I don't think I've done something that's fully monochromatic, so that's new for me too. So I am enjoying working on this one, and I think it's just gonna be so pretty and delicate, and I love just all the detail that modern folk embroidery can get in their patterns. Just beautiful. So I'm very excited to be working on that one. So if you are joining in Stitches and Pages, please let me know what you decided to stitch, and if you are enjoying the book, and if you are interested in joining, I will talk a bit more about the book club later in this episode. So let's move on to my whips. I worked on 4 whips in the past 3 weeks. And I do have a little bit of haul that I'm going to show in just a second here, because it's kind of related to some of the whips, or at least some organization I'm doing around my stitching. But one of the whips I worked on a lot was Artsy Housewife's You Got This. I think this is super cute. I love that owl, and I am going to stitch this to probably put in a frame, and I'm going to put it on my cubicle shelf at work to remind me in the morning or throughout the day when it's a rough day that I got this and all is well. So this is such a cute and fun one to stitch on. And I'm using all of the called for DMC, except I'm using Cool Azul by Classic Colorworks for the blue mug and the light blue in those flowers. I just thought that this lighter color worked better than I think Blue Moon is what is called for, and I wanted something slightly lighter. And so I finally am starting to organize all of my floss. And I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I didn't have the best floss organization system. It's all on bobbins and bobbin boxes, but I found that I was kind of ending up with like this situation where I put it in a Ziploc. Some of it was on bobbins, some of it was still in the skein. It was just a mess everywhere. And so I know that Bridge in the Museum Stitcher uses these Atomic Heart floss drops, and I thought, or floss bobbins, and I thought I would try them, and I'm liking them so far. So what they are is just a very nicely thick, I think acrylic, looks like a floss bobbin, your normal one, and it's got 2 holes, a main hole for your floss, and this one for like your little spare threads, but it also has, so you can use it as a floss drop, but it also has these, like a bobbin, so that you can wrap it around and tuck, which is a little difficult, that's my only slight criticism, but tuck these in and use it as a bobbin for storage. And so I like the idea of having it while I'm working with the thread as a floss drop, because you can, when you do it this way, you can just stick your needle in and pull a thread out. It makes it really easy. You're not constantly unwinding a bobbin or rewinding it. Keeps it neater, I think. And so I thought I would give these a try, and I'm liking them so far, besides for the fact that if you really have like a full skein, it is a little difficult to get it inside of these. But I mean, if you're storing them, you could also just wind it and just kind of like tuck it, and you know, the bobbins stacked next to each other would hold it in place. So far I like these. I think Bridget found Pip and Chip is a company that makes stickies with the DMC number and color on it, like little mini stickers. I might consider getting those. So the stickers that come with these are just round. This is actually just a round sticker, which I guess you could put in the middle here. But if you wrap this up and you're storing them, you obviously want the number to be up here so that you can see it in your bobbin box. And so I took the round stickers and just folded them over so that I could stick it up here. But this one even had started coming off. So they're not, these come with it. They're not like the most sticky. Or you can just write on them, which I had started to do as well. But I think if you're trying to find it in your bobbin box, the right color, it's better to have it kind of like this, where it stands out a little more. So I'll see what I want to decide to do. But I think those Pip and Chip labels might be the way to go. They're just small, I think ovals maybe, and they're actually the color of the DMC, so it would be this color, and it has the number on it, which is probably a really nice way to go. So might look into that, but I'm liking this. These have heft and weight to them, so it depends if you want something a little heavier or thicker. They're fairly thick, and I just got some rings. But then I just feel so much like more organized. And when I show you my colors, I can just like, it's just so much better than being like, and here's all my floss. So I think these will work out well. I will say that since they're maybe double the size, or maybe even triple the size of like the bobbins you would just get in Michael's or Joann's or something, you probably would need more boxes to put all your bobbins in, because I feel like these would take up more room, but I'm not really too concerned about that. I have not put these in a bobbin box yet. Trying to decide how I'm going to start transferring everything over. I got a bag of 50 for like $22 or something like that, which to me is pretty affordable for the quality, small business, well made, fast shipping, all of that. So these are like the clear acrylic or the frosted acrylic. She has ones that are like all funky colors. Did I say this is Adam Hart? I might not have. It'll have hopefully been below on the screen. I meant to have the bag with me with her logo on it, and I left it over there. But I like these so far. So I've not put them in the bobbin box, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start transferring DMC over in the projects that I am currently working on to get those more organized. And then once I do that, I will slowly start taking my DMC off the bobbins they're already on and putting them on these. So it'll probably take a while. I don't want to be dumping a ton of money on buying these, a ton of these, but I think 50 will give me a really good start. And I like them so far. So if you have any questions, let me know, but they're a good option. She has other styles. She has ones that are just pure floss drops, ones that are like heart-shaped, which are really cute, but I like the idea of having the versatility of a bobbin along with a floss drop. So that was my little haul, and I'm showing it now because the only one I've fully transferred over so far is You Got This, and I will say I'm only doing this with my DMC. jury is still out on my fancy floss, what I want to do with that. I might just leave them on the cards and then that'll work out fine. So yeah, so let's show the actual stitching. And here is my progress on You Got This. This is on a 32 count Whisper Lugana, just as Zweigart, and I'm stitching this 2 over 2. And we're gonna see if I can get a screen grab. Because you always see funny thumbnails, and it's because YouTube just kind of decides randomly what to use as your thumbnail, and I think whenever you're the most still is when it chooses the thumbnail. But anyway, look at his face. Isn't he cute? This was fun. This was fun, like, to get working on the eyes, because I think I was missing one of the yellows that I needed for the eyes, so I went to Joann's to pick that up, and so these eyes were empty for a while I was still working around here, and I even hopped up here. And then I was like, it looks weird for him to, like, be starting to look like an owl but have no eyes. So I was like, I gotta start working on the eyes. And like I like stitching things where it sort of looks like an owl but not really, and it doesn't really have any life to it. And then you immediately do something like this and you're like, oh wow, that looks like an owl. Like now it has life to it, personality. So it's just fun how those little details, especially like the white part inside the eye, just like makes it all of a sudden it's an owl, and all of a sudden he's looking at you. So this is so much fun to stitch. I'm loving the style. I'm loving how he's coming together. The mug is going to be so much fun. So I just keep wanting to pull this one out and spend time on it. And the Lugana is just, you know, a 28 count, since I do a lot of, no, it's 32 count, my apologies. I think it's 32 count. Yes, 32 count. But it's just a little bit easier on the eyes and quicker to work through than the 36 and 40. I love 36 and 40, but sometimes you just need something a little different and a little bit smoother and easier. The Lugana is just super soft and nice and kind of thick, and just really enjoying this one, and it's gonna be so cute to display at work. I can't wait. So he's gonna get a lot of attention because he's just fun. And so that was You Got This. That was the first of my 4 whips. The next one I worked on is Reaping Love by Silver Creek Samplers. Hopefully I didn't show too much of the chart there. This one is a present from my friend Stacy, who is getting married in October. She and her fiance are having a vintage Halloween themed wedding, which is very them and very unique. And so I wanted to stitch them a unique wedding sampler. And I thought this one is super fun. And I think they're absolutely gonna love it. And then I can put their initials at the bottom, and below that I might even chart out their wedding date, or maybe just 2024. So this is super fun to work on because it's not something that I would stitch for myself. So to be able to stitch it for someone else and get to work on something kind of funky is fun. And so I'm stitching Reaping Love on a 36 count old stationery using mostly the called for. So that's pretty good progress. There he is. You got his hand. There's a little bit missing from below his hand. That actually almost looks like a mini skull, but it's his hand. And then I worked my way down his coat, I don't know, whatever that is. His feet are there at the bottom, and I'm just making steady progress on him. I probably need to focus on this one a little bit more in the next month or so, because I stitch on a lot of things. I'm not the fastest stitcher, and this has to be done in early October, like fully finished in early October for their wedding. So, I mean, I've only gotten, you know, most of this and then some of his feet, but I've got a good bit left to go. Hopefully these letters will stitch up pretty fast. I think this will take a good amount of time, and these headstones will probably take a fair amount of time. So, gotta get working on that. So, using mostly the call for DMC / Weeks. So the Reaper himself is in Weeks Works, which I love the variegation, and then obviously the black and the white, and some of the other stuff is just going to be straight DMC. But I did decide to do for the lantern And then for this heart here, for this and for that heart, to do something with variegation. And the color they chose is pretty bright, like it's more of an orange red, and I wanted it to be a bit of a more pinky, deeper red, so I chose Hugs and Kisses by Cottage Garden Threads. I'm really liking working with this. I like the variegation. This is the first time I've ever used Cottage Garden Threads, and I like that they put it on this card and it's all, you know, twirled up and tucked in here and all nice when you buy it, and then you pull this down and it turns into this kind of floss drop, and then you can just pull one strand, one singular strand, and just tug on it and it'll come out, and then you can just use the strand. So it's really nice. That like makes it really easy. Like you wouldn't even need, like it's pre-cut, so you wouldn't even really need scissors except to cut off your end when you're done with it. But I really like that idea. It just makes it kind of easy. So that's a great idea that they had. So I really like this color. I like the variegation. Fun to use a different kind of floss. So that is Reaping Love. Gotta get going on this one. And then the next one is Little House Needleworks, Take Me Out to the Ballgame. It's been incredibly hot here in Pennsylvania. It feels like 100 degrees right now. It's not even noon. So definitely felt like stitching something summery. Recalling hot days at baseball games when I lived in Washington, D.C. I don't go to baseball games as often. We're not too far from Philly, but you have to drive to get to the stadium and pay to park, and there's a lot of traffic and stuff like that. So I'm hoping we get to maybe one baseball game this summer. Try to make that work. But that's Take Me Out to the Ball Game by Little House Needleworks. This one I am stitching on 36 count Steinbeck. This is the last of my cut of Steinbeck from Needle and Flax, and ignore that it's all wonky in my nerd hoop, but that is my progress so far. So I think last time I had just gotten like Major League maybe done and like a little of the bunting, I think. So I did home. There's a star here that I have to find the yellow for. I think it's yellow or white. It might be white. I might make it yellow. But I worked on the bunting, and then this is like going down to like the stand here where all the people are. So just making slow progress on this one. No rush. 36 count 1/2 using, and again, this is, I gotta get these in order. So this is how I am messily doing my floss right now. So I'm going to work on this next to put these on the Autumn Heart floss drops or floss bobbins. But I'm kind of using a mix of their called for DMC, classic Colorworks, just kind of picking similar colors to what they have, but not using exactly what is called for. This pattern is from 2012, so some of the color lots are slightly different. Like it asks for eggshell for the white, and eggshell is much more of a tan beigey kind of color these days. And so I just, which DMC did I do? I might have used Ecru actually, which is, no, I'm using Bamboo by Classic Colorworks, aren't I? I think I'm using Bamboo by Classic Colorworks. Ecru is the called for DMC, but I'm using Bamboo. So I'm not using the called for in totality. I'm just kind of picking and choosing. I chose different colors for the red and the blue, like 355 and 924 instead of, oh, they did call for 355 actually. But then they called for, I think, stepping stones for the blue, or the blue color they chose was definitely not terribly blue. That is the Tin Bucket from Gentle Arts, which sounds to me like it would be more gray, but I don't have that color. So I went with 924. Anyway, long story short, kind of just picking and choosing my own colors, but keeping within the colorway that they have. And then the only other thing I might change is try to turn one or two of these guys into girls, into women, and then maybe add a little diversity in there with skin color. So we'll see how that goes. But a little bit of progress on this one. No hard goals with that, so just pulling it out if I feel like working on something baseball themed. And then the last whip I worked on, which is not done, which I said would be done, but it's not, is Oh Joyous Day. And you'll have seen this so many times, so I'm not gonna go on and on about it, but I will say that I had a goal of finishing this on Thursday, the first day of summer, and I was stressing myself out over it. I was working on it maybe too much, and I really like variety in my stitching. There's nothing wrong with being monogamous, but it does not work for me, and I was just, you know, getting kind of a little bit bored and burnt out and tired of working on this, and then stressed about having told you I would all finish it, told all of you I would finish it by the first day of summer. Also, it was kind of like, I can finish this and start Fairy Garden, and so then I was like, well, I want to do the SAL, and I have to finish this because I said I would finish it before we start the new pattern to do the SAL, and there's no reason stitching should be stressful, and there's no reason to feel like I have to stick to some sort of made-up goal that I just randomly decided on, right? I mean, I don't think you all are going to come for me with pitchforks if I say I'm going to finish something and don't finish it by the date I said I was going to finish it. There's no reason I should be stressed about it. It's just stitching. I think it is kind of a slight Flosstube thing where you're like, well, I told everyone, and all my viewers are going to like, they're like telling me how great it's looking and all the progress, and I'm going to have it done any day now. There's no reason to be stressed about it. So this one went away for a couple days. It's also why I didn't film last weekend. Usually I try to film every 2 weeks, and it's been 3 weeks because I just found myself only focusing on this and then getting annoyed, and then I just didn't feel like filming last weekend. So I put it away for the past week, and that's okay. So this is on 36 count Steinbeck, and I did make some good progress. I don't know last time you saw it, there's a straight stitch or satin stitch border. Is it satin? No, straight stitch. I don't know. I didn't even make it all the way across because I hate that. But I worked on this flower, which I then made a mistake here, and I have to redo that, so I started to frog it, which also caused me annoyance. And then I did finish this flower. I put in the 20 and I started this one. So, I mean, it is some progress. Last time you saw it, none of this down here was done. So I am moving forward on it. It will get done probably this summer. I'm not giving myself any more hard deadlines on when I'm going to finish it, but I don't have that much more to go that I wouldn't get it done by the summer. I do have a few spots that I have to fix. This is coming. There's a thread coming out here. I want to redo this December. I got to stitch Oh Joyous Day. So it's 1/2 Oh Joyous Day, and this December is 1/1. I'm going to put Alex and I's wedding date there, so December 2nd. And then I'm debating for this, it has 20, and then you put the rest of the date over here. And I don't know if I want to do it 2024, the date I finished, or 2023, the date we got married, since I'm putting December 2nd up there. I might do 2023, but I have not decided on that yet. So that is Oh Joyous Day. It is coming along. I'm using all the call for threads, and it will get done, but I don't need to stress myself out over it, because to me, stitching is a way to not be stressed. So yeah. And I think that's it for what I worked on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is plans. So let me know if you have any plans coming up. We're almost in July, which is crazy. Are you working on anything? Are you stitching a lot, or is summer a time when you're not stitching as much? The last week I got a lot of stitching in, I think because it's been so hot. Weeks prior, a little less. We've got house stuff going on. We're going out and enjoying the weather when it's not blazingly hot. So a little less stitching, but still good progress. And I do want in July to continue to work on Fairy Garden for our stitch along, continue to work on Nordic Heart as we read Funny Story, and then of course work on Reaping Love so I can get that finished by my friend's wedding. And I also want to do Christmas in July. I'm not going to go crazy with the Christmas in July, but I think I'm going to do a new start. I don't know what that start will be yet. Hopefully something smaller, maybe an ornament. I also am part of Teresa Cougat's Patreon, and she will release new patterns on July 1st. It's possible she'll do Christmas because she did just release, or is releasing, a patriotic book, and her stuff for June was patriotic, so I don't think she'll do patriotic in July. So I'm assuming, maybe I could be wrong, but I'm assuming she'll do Christmas. Maybe she won't, but if I like what she releases, maybe I will do one of those as my new start. And then the other 2 Christmas patterns I'm going to work on, I decided to do the smallest Christmas patterns I have and ones that I could make a good bit of progress on and get a little closer to finishing. So the first one is hands-on design. I think this was a freebie last year or the year before, but it's called Berries in Bloom. So here is what it looks like. And I am stitching Berries in Bloom on a Grace Notes Earl Grey. I do not know the size of this. Hang on. I can check this. This is where I write all of my cross stitch stuff down. I will say that I am now out of room in this book. You can put 50 patterns in here, the information for 50 patterns, and I have 50 patterns, so I have to buy a new one. It is a 16 count Ada Earl Grey, but I got this at Fat Quarter Shop and I like it a lot. So this is 60 count Earl Grey by Grace Notes, and that is the start. I am doing my own conversion, which again is messy, and I think I'm probably even missing some colors in here, so that will be organized shortly as well. But I just went a little bit lighter and less bold with the colors I chose. I did do like an étoile, a sparkly, which probably not really gonna be able to see, but it is like a sparkly white for the Mary, and then the berries, and that is just slightly softer colors than what is in the pattern. So this is cute. It'll be easy. I'll probably be able to make some good progress on this in July. Again, not making any goals to finish it. I think I'm done with giving myself hard deadlines for things this year. I just don't want to stress myself out, so there's no reason to. So we'll see how much this gets done, and I'll just enjoy working on it. So that's Berries in Bloom. And then the other one that I'm going to work on, good, I unzipped this. I was like, I don't want to kill people with zipping it, is Snowy Night by Prairie Schooler. Just another small one that I can make some good progress on. This is their 2023 Santa. So he's super cute with the snowflakes. This is the first Prairie Schooler I've ever done, and I'm definitely enjoying it. He is also on a natural 40, no, not 40 count. This is a 32 count natural raw linen. So the same one I'm doing Nordic heart on, just in a different count. And there's his progress. So pretty good progress on him. I mean, he's half done, I think. Just need his more than half done, really. Just need the bottom part of him and his legs, and then all those snowflakes will probably take some time. And then Snowy Night is all backstitch, but I don't think that should take too long, and then the lantern. So, and oh, I didn't finish his scarf up there. But he is 32 count, right? So he is 2/2. I am using, I think, I'm using the called for. I'm pretty sure I'm using the called for him. So, which are really lovely dark Christmas colors. So, look at his beard. He's so cute. So if it remains super duper hot, I will enjoy working on some Christmas stitching to make me think about when it was cold, except for the fact that I really don't like the cold and I'd rather it be super, super hot. So the heat doesn't really, I mean, if I'm out in the heat too long, I'll get a little bit hot and sweaty and stuff, but I would rather be hot than cold. So, except that in the summer, my office at work is freezing all the time. I don't know why they do that, but they just blast the air conditioning and I always have to have a sweater on, which is not fun, but c'est la vie. So next we're gonna talk about some Flosstube recommendations, and then we're gonna talk about books. So I have 2 Flosstubers I've been watching. One is a new Flosstuber. She just filmed her first video. It is a whip parade. She's got beautiful stitching and she is so nice, and I know her in person, and that is Caitlin, and her Flosstube is Stitch, Read, Repeat, and I will link both of these next 2 Flosstubers below, but please give Caitlin a watch and support her and her Flosstube and her first video. Caitlin is so, so nice, and she's got beautiful stitching. And so we met because she not too long ago moved to Delaware, and I don't live too far from the Delaware border in Pennsylvania. And so she had reached out to see if we wanted to hang out on Instagram. And it was during the crazy wedding planning that I had at the end of last year. So I had to postpone us meeting. But then I was getting together with some other stitchy friends that I had met at a retreat last year. So I invited Caitlin to join in with us. And now we all meet once a month nearby, usually at a Panera, and stitch and hang out and chat. And Caitlin is just so sweet and so lovely and so fun to just get together with her and some of the other ladies and stitch and talk about stitching with people in person, because only stitchy people understand stitching. And we're actually, the group of us, I think there's 4 of us, maybe 5, next weekend, who are gonna go to Ye Old Cross Stitchery in Bristol, PA. I've never been. I think it's about 45 minutes from here. So we're gonna meet up there. We're gonna go to the shop and we're gonna shop. And I have some money saved up for that so that I can have some fun at the cross stitch shop, and then we might go out to lunch. But it's been great having some real life friends to stitch with and get together with once a month, and to have met Caitlin and get to stitch with her and hang out with her. So please go check out Stitch, Read, Repeat, and give her a comment and give her a subscription and a like, and check out her lovely first Flosstube episode. And then the other Flosstuber I've been watching recently, who's been around for a while, but I hadn't really watched her much, is Xstitch MD. That's Shiloh. And she just stitches some amazing things, just beautiful, beautiful stitching. She does full coverage, which maybe someday I'll do, but it's amazing what she can do and how those turn out. They're gigantic, and I don't know that I would have the patience for it or not, but maybe I'll try it someday. But she's got just super lovely stitching. She's really fun and easy to watch, and has a lot of episodes. So if you're looking for someone who has a big backlog or back category of episodes to kind of just enjoy and watch, definitely check out Xstitch MD. And so those are my Flosstube recommendations, and that's all of my stitching. So I thought this would go on for much longer, but I think I sped through that. So hopefully I didn't go too fast, but we are going to talk about the Stitches and Pages book club. So if you're interested in joining, or you're already reading the book, stick around for that. And if you're not and you're just here for the stitching, that's great. Let me know how you're doing, how your summer is going. Is it hot there? What are you working on? Any fun summer plans? And just leave me a comment and say hi. I love hearing from you. I love talking to you in the comments. And even if you don't have much going on stitching, let me know what's going on in your life. Or if you're just having a lazy summer, let me know what you're stitching on. And so let's talk books. So as you all may have seen, but maybe you missed it, I did a Flosstube extra, and the choice for June and July is Emily Henry's Funny Story. So this is a contemporary romance novel. Basic plot: this woman, Daphne, is engaged. Her fiance ends up leaving her for his best friend, Petra. They've been friends for years, and Daphne always thought they were only friends, and then I guess they realized they were in love, and they start going out, and so Daphne gets broken up with. I'm gonna forget. See, I'm really bad with characters' names. Her fiance's name is Peter. He gets with Petra, and so Petra's ex, Miles, after all of this goes down and Daphne finds out that Peter's leaving her for Petra, and Miles finds out Petra's leaving him for Peter, he goes over to just ask Daphne if she had any idea, if she knows what's going on, and she realizes, oh, Peter's kicking me out of the house we bought together, that we were gonna move, or that we just moved in together, engaged, gonna get married, then move into a house, and now he's gonna retain the house because he paid for it, and so she is now without a place to live, and Miles lived with Petra, so now he is without a roommate. So Daphne moves in with Miles, and they commiserate together on what happened to both of them, which is their partner leaving them for the other person's partner, and you can kind of guess what happens from there. Basically, they pretend to date to piss their exes off, and obviously they're gonna end up falling in love. That's not a spoiler, that's obvious, one would assume, unless Emily Henry decides to go completely crazy and do something unexpected for a romance novel, but I assume they will fall in love and be happy. So that is Funny Story. I am, 100 pages in. I'm really enjoying it. I really like these characters. I like the setting and the plot, and I think Emily Henry is a good writer and just fun. It's just a fun summer read, which sometimes is what you want. So we will read that. Let me know if you are stitching something related, if you figured out what to stitch to go along with it, or what whip to grab if you're not doing a new start. And I'm going to post a link in this video in the description for you to vote on when we are going to meet for our Zoom discussion. So I'll do the same thing that I did last time. I'll pick a few dates, weekdays and weekends, and we'll see what works for the most amount of people. And then the two that work for the most people will be the times I will choose. And then I will, once we choose those two dates that we are going to meet, I will have another video come out in a couple weeks. And in that video, you will be able to sign up to attend one of those two Zooms. Signing up just means filling out a form that gives me your email address so I can send you the Zoom invite. This is all free. Anyone can join. I just try to make it fair by doing the voting thing first so we can pick the dates that work for the most amount of people, especially during the summer when we're all busy with plans and vacations. And then once that happens, you can actually see of the two dates which one works best for you. I'll get your information and then you'll get the Zoom link and we'll meet and talk about the book. So it worked out really, really well last time around. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions about how it all works, let me know. But hopefully that's pretty straightforward. So please go into the description box, click on that link. It's a Google form where you can just vote on the day that works best for you. And we'll try to pick some Zoom dates that work for everyone. And we'll have good discussions like we had last time and stitch and hang out and have a good time. So I hope you will all enjoying the book. I've got a couple of other books on the go. I have one audio book that I just finished, another I'm listening to, and another paper or hardcover book that I just finished. But I will talk about the books in my next video that I have read and do a little bit of reviews, and then also post the link in my next video for those Zoom meetings. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a good summer and enjoying your reading and your stitching. And let me know how it's all going, and if you're joining the book club. I think a couple people have said they started reading the book and they're really enjoying it, so I'm really glad that it's a fun, good summer read for everyone, and we'll see how it goes, but hopefully we all really enjoy it. So I will see you all again in 2 weeks. Happy reading and happy stitching.